Good morning and welcome to Coffee Talk. I'm so glad you're here today. I have an amazing guest who we will get to in a moment, but first I have a little housekeeping to take care of. Sponsor Blue Sky Video Productions. Blue Sky Video Productions for all your YouTube strategy, producing, go live. And he also has a new go live in 5 days challenge, which he will probably talk about at the end of this show, I hope. The other sponsor I have today is a different one. It's Reflex Protect. And right here is a sample that you can give as a gift. It is a defensive spray it's not mace, it's safer. And there's actually an that can reverse it right away. So you don't have to be miserable for 10 hours or however long mace works. So Reflex Protect, and you can contact my buddy, Alan Barres. And I forgot to give my producer his contact information, but it'll be easy enough to find. Okay. So, again, thank you for being here. If you are here and you have questions for Doug, please put them in the comments and let me know where you're coming from, where you're viewing from. And if you're watching this on the replay, please do the same. Put in the comments where you are. And if you have a question, there's Mr. Williams. Hi, Joe. If you have a question for Doug, I can get it to him for you. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cards That Wow, because I only have like a handful of subscribers and it's kind of sorry. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. And if you enjoy what you see today, please share it out. So our guest today has many hats, and according to our conversation, he had big shoes to fill. His father, the amazing Doug Wing's father, he created the Little Giant legacy. But Doug has a lot more going on right now, and we're going to talk about that. So please help me welcome the amazing Doug Wing. Hey, Doug.
Hey, hi, Kellen. How are you?
I messed that up a little bit, but they get how awesome you are, I'm sure.
Well, I'm down here in Florida for the mastermind. So with
I
Jeff
know.
Whitmer and Joe Soto. So we had a few technical glitches, but I think we made it work. So hopefully everybody can hear me.
So there's Mr. Hubbs. Hi, Kim. Good morning, Kellen. Great to see me going live. You know, it's an addiction. In March, I was afraid to do a Zoom, and now they can't keep me off the lives. So there's a couple things that I wanted to chat with you about, because everybody knows you from the Little Giant Ladder Company, which I have right here. And I told you earlier I was going to try to do the show from the ladder, but it was not a flattering angle for me. So I'm sorry. I chose vanity over over promotion. I hope you'll forgive me.
Yeah, that's fine. No problem.
So in the beginning of the pandemic, your company, well, your old company, I should say, had to make some changes. Did you have to make a lot of large changes and adapt to what was happening, or was it business as usual? Because I know you did, you do the big box stores, and you have a strong business going right now.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Little Giant has had to adapt just like any other company has. And basically what they did was, since we had the pandemic, that all the sales guys and gals just kind of stopped traveling because of the shutdown. And so they basically took the budget that they had spent on travel and doing sales trips and produced, I think, 2 or 3 new studios there at Little Giant. So they do what they call now is Little Giant Live. And so they do all of their sales presentations now through those studios. And they do, they make appointments just like they would if they were out making sales calls, and they just do that virtually now. So it's pretty neat.
Cool. That sounds really cool. So you decided to change and sell your portion of the company. What made you do that?
Well, I had worked for Little Giant for over 40 years, and actually started working for my dad when I was 10 years old and my brother was 12. And so it was a great place to work. I loved it. I got to do many things and learn many things and travel all over the world, but it was just time to move on. And so I ended up selling my part of the company back to my brother.
Nice. So your parents played a large role in your success and your human being because they instilled a lot of great qualities and ethical values. Do you want to talk about them a little bit?
Sure. My mom and dad were total opposites. My mom was from Germany, grew up very humble, and was very thrifty, and was not a big risk taker, but was a great woman, and was strict, and taught us, right from wrong, and was a very good mother. My father, on the other hand, was a big, huge risk taker, had a lot of self-confidence, believed in himself and in his abilities, and taught us, to believe in ourselves as well. But together, they, I think they really worked well together. And yeah, it was amazing working with my dad and my family. Not easy because sometimes, there's issues, and not everybody can be the boss, and it's not easy working with your family. But it was always my dad's dream to have a business that he and his sons could work together.
So it was important to him to create a legacy.
Exactly. Yeah. And he was, like I said, he was just an amazing, driven person who, no matter what he was doing, did things 110%, and was never afraid of failure or any setbacks. I tell a lot of people that there were times at Little Giant when we were struggling, and it didn't look too promising for us. But there was always one person that I never saw afraid, or that never panicked, and that was my dad. There was times when we were all like, how are we going to get out of this? How are we going to make this work? But he was always the one that said, hey, we've always made it. We're going to continue to make it, and we'll get through this.
And is that your philosophy? If you feel like you're struggling, no sweat, I'm going to make it through it. I'll just push through.
Well, there's times when I think I have a little bit more of my mother in me. She was kind of a worrier. And so I'm a little bit wound up tight sometimes. But my brother was more of a risk taker as well. And so I think when my parents were gone, we kind of balanced each other out that way.
So, so tell me about, everybody hears all the great things and all the positive things. I just want to know a little bit about the struggling. What helped you get through? Was it just your dad's positive attitude and pushing through, or is that where everybody came together and said, okay, we need to get through this and get to the next level?
Well, the big struggles in the company were in the beginning. And I think people see Little Giant and they see the success that they are doing now. But a lot of people don't realize that the company was started in 1972. And people just see the product everywhere now, like in Costco or Lowe's or different things like that, or on Amazon. But they don't see or haven't seen what it took to build a business. For example, when my father was when I was in junior high and high school, my dad was gone over 300 days a year, living in a station wagon, sleeping on top of ladders, and because he couldn't afford to stay in a hotel, only maybe about every 3 or 4 nights he could stay in a hotel. So, there's not very many people today that would sleep in their car with ladders.
Mm-hmm.
And that would go around and do those types of things. And those are the types of things that my dad did to make the company successful. There was just a lot of struggle in the beginning, and people don't realize that how difficult it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think most stories have a very difficult or trying or challenging beginning, and we all hear about the good stuff. So, the good stuff is great. I'm happy that everything turned out so well. Kim Hubbs has a question. Doug, 2 questions. Oh, he has 2 questions. What did you most enjoy about working with your father? And what was the most important factor in creating a successful business? Thanks, Kim.
Yeah, those are great. So to answer his first question, I really enjoyed working with my dad because he was such a good people person. And he had so much enthusiasm and love for his employees. And I tried to do that as well as I worked my way up through the company. But he just loved his employees. He treated them like they were family. And it kind of ties into the next part of his question. My dad believed that the most important thing in a company was the people. And so he had this philosophy. There's a little plaque on the front of the building there at Little Giant that says, if you concentrate on building the business and not the man, you will not achieve. But if you concentrate on building the man, you achieve both. And so he had this philosophy was, if we take care of our people and treat them well, take care of them, then they're going to help us succeed. And so I think that's really one of the core principles of Little Giant that my dad started was, let's take care of people and they're going to take care of us and we'll be successful together.
Nice. Thank you. Okay, where's the dirt on the wing? I don't think there is any. So
Hey, Charles.
Good morning, Charles. George Henderson has a question. Doug, what led you, the company, to pick select distribution and not make it available to all outlets? That's a really good question.
That's a good question. So as throughout the kind of the history of the company, we were never the lowest priced product. We were, in fact, many times we were twice the price of other competitors. And so we were known for our quality, and we always had MAP pricing, which is minimum advertised pricing. We always followed a MAP pricing program. Even when the company went crazy on the infomercials and Home Depot approached us and said, hey, we want your ladders in Home Depot, we said, yeah, that's fine. We'll put our ladders in all Home Depot stores, but you have to maintain a minimum advertised price. And so even when we were dealing with large companies like Home Depot and other companies, we always followed MAP pricing. And so that led to more select distribution and not just, anybody. There were certain companies, certain chains and things like that weren't willing to follow MAP. And so that's kind of why we were selective on the retailers.
Thank you. You talked, I know we're kind of jumping around here, but you told me the story of how your dad, how he came to the concept of the Little Giant ladder. Was it in Germany?
Exactly, yes. So my dad was in Germany selling life insurance, and the company was based out of Salt Lake City. And because my dad spoke German, he was able to, this company asked him to open up an office in Germany. And so him and another gentleman from Salt Lake went over to Germany and opened up this office selling insurance, mostly to military people that were there, U.S. military people. And my father's partner, I think it was at some kind of maybe a home show or something in Germany, saw the original design, which was made by a German house painter. His name was Walter, and he fell in love with the ladder, and he kept trying to get my dad to look at this ladder. And my dad said, "You're crazy. We're here to sell insurance. What do we want to see this ladder for?" But my father's partner was very persistent, and eventually my dad saw the ladder and also got excited about it and said, "Hey, this is something that we could do," and became very good friends with this gentleman named Walter. And the rest is history. My dad started out just buying like containers, at a time, just a small container at a time, and then went over and started selling them.
Nice. Great story. Let's see. I know you're onto other things right now. You're writing a book, and you have a new business. Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Now, what was that question?
Wait, what is your big, hairy, audacious goal now? That kind of ties into the question.
All right, that kind of ties into this book, Phil. So for the last, my dad passed away in 2012, and he had actually started writing a book, and none of my siblings really had any interest in doing this book, but I just kept thinking, somebody needs to finish this book about my dad, because I believe that it's going to be a very interesting story from nothing to, creating this multi-million-dollar company. And he had some really interesting philosophies on how to do that. And so I have been thinking about this for quite some time. And when COVID hit, and I was actually serving a church mission at the time in Hawaii, and we were sent home, I was all of a sudden, I didn't have really much to do anymore. And so I thought about this again. I saw the manuscript that my dad had, and I thought, now is the time to do this. And we both have a mutual friend who's written a lot of books, Jeffrey Gitomer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talked to Jeffrey about it, and he is a huge Little Giant user and loves the product and the quality. And so we started talking about this project, and he said, you've got to tell this story about this amazing man who started with nothing and built this unbelievable company, an amazing brand. And so that's how the book, that's how the whole idea came about with the book. So
how exciting, because now you're creating a lasting legacy that'll be in print
exactly.
Forever.
Yeah.
So what would you say the most thing that you were proud of, I didn't want to say contribution, but to the success of the company, what do you think that, because every single person is important and they bring something different. What is it that you feel that you brought?
I did a lot of different things in the company, but I think that where I was really effective was in sales, in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with some big companies towards the end of my career there at Little Giant. And I really took a lot of pride and effort into developing relationships with people and then helping them solve the issues that they were having. And ended up working with some big cable companies towards the end of my career. And one of the individuals that I worked with at Comcast told me, he said, out of all the years that you worked with me, I never felt like you were a salesman. You never really tried to sell me anything. You just tried to help me solve problems that I had. And so I kind of just look at myself as, someone that tried to help people and companies solve the issues that they had with our products. And a lot of times, if I didn't have the product to help them solve their issue, I would go out and try to find other products to help them. So I kind of, look at myself more of as an advisor, kind of a trusted advisor and friend rather than a salesman. But that's kind of my philosophy is, help people with what they need, and then the business will always be there.
It's like living, breathing Jeffrey principles, right?
Yes, exactly.
So when did you first read his books? Long time ago?
Yes, I met Jeffrey probably 25 years ago. The first time I met him was when he came to a seminar in Salt Lake. That was the first time that I had met him. And then I think the next year, or maybe a couple of years later, I saw him in Las Vegas. And in Las Vegas, they had a 2-day event. One was for sales people, and then the next day there was one for sales leaders. And so that was how we met. And he'd done a little bit of consulting and training for Little Giant, and I used a lot of his materials when I was actually training there at Little Giant.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how we met, and just we've known each other for many years.
Oh, excellent. We missed Ronnie Goodwin. Well, you didn't miss him, but I liked what he had to say. He said to use money and love people, not vice versa. And that seems like your mantra, your whole family's mantra. I love that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, there's George's question. Like most companies, they start in the US and reach a level of success before deciding to go global. How many years were you in business before you started to sell internationally? And what were the key factors that went into that decision?
I'm trying to think. I think we've been doing international now probably for, gosh, probably 20 years. My brother actually did a lot of international uh, sales and marketing, and he started out in Europe. What's interesting is our ladder came from Europe, and then we started selling to Europe because what
Mm,
happened is that we actually, the original Little Giant, our company took that product and we innovated and made a lot of unique changes to it and got our own patents on it. And so um, we actually ended up going back over to Europe and other countries, and my brother started all of that. He knew German and so we went and did that. He did mostly and started what is now called Little Giant Global.
mhm.
And we're in a lot of countries: Australia, Europe, and I think even down in the Philippines and Mexico, places like that. So it's just, the product is so well known and the name brand is so strong that as we would go to big trade shows like the hardware show that used to be in Chicago is in Vegas now, and different places like that. There's a hardware show in Germany. As we started doing some of those shows, people in other lands obviously started looking at our products and the quality, and it just kind of took off from there.
Okay, Charles, he has a title for the book. Wait, hold on. From sleeping with ladders to the top of the rung. I'm sure you have a title already, huh?
Yeah, and actually, my father had a title to his book, and Jeffrey made me change it. And Jeffrey knows what he's talking about. So the title of my dad's book was going to be "Ladders I've Climbed," and I think that may be a chapter in the book.
Mhm.
But the book is going to be called "Giant Success."
That'll work. Okay, Joe Williams. Doug, I love the stories of your dad's generosity. If he were working at Little Giants in today's world, what do you think he would most focus on? With the ability to instantly go live, do you think he would hone in on that infomercials, spread his wisdom?
Yeah, so my father was on all of the infomercials until he passed away, and so I think that if he was alive today, he would still be involved in the infomercials, and he would obviously be involved in the Little Giant Live presentations that they do, um, every day. So I think that would continue, and that, again, is the infomercials. The product always is presentable. We started off doing trade shows, home and garden shows, fairs, and then we knew that it was successful doing presentations, and so we thought, well, if it's successful to present toe to toe, we think the infomercials would be successful as well. So that's kind of how the infomercials started,
Mhm.
and we really had to do the infomercials because the company was really struggling at the time, and it really helped boost the company by doing those.
Talk about being ahead of your time, right?
Yeah, I always tell people, there's so many smart people at Little Giant, and unfortunately, I'm not one of them. And it was, it's a joke, but again, it goes back to the people that we had, and I believe the people that still work at Little Giant really make the difference. Of course, we have great products, and but you can't do it without the people, and so that was been the philosophy of my father, and I believe that they still have that same philosophy that there today.
So, you take all this experience and knowledge, and what are you doing with it now?
Well, I I retired. I sold
Mhm.
my part of the business and retired, and I actually invested in another business that I'm not involved in day to day. We provide places for people to live, so we have a company that has a lot of apartments that we rent to people. And I have two great partners that have been doing this for many, many years. They're about 15 years younger than me. And so I'm involved in the company as a kind of a silent partner, I guess, but an investor. But we also have a property management company and some other companies we're involved in. But I really don't have much to do with that today. My main focus right now is on this book and developing a couple of websites for the book. And as I've been meeting with Jeffrey, he said, "Hey, I don't think that the book is going to be enough." He goes, "We need to develop a training program that has the core principles and values
Mm-hmm.
of how Wing, creator of Little Giant, ladder system." And so that's something that we're working on right now is once the book's done, then we're going to develop a training program that we can train other companies and people with those basic values that my dad was very successful with in the company.
So do you think that will be strictly manufacturing, training for manufacturing, or will it cover anything?
No, it'll be pretty much any kind of company, and
Nice.
some of it'll probably be virtual because that's kind of where we are in the world today, and that's where things are going. But that is yet to be. We're still building that out. But the main thing is just get this book finished, and that's a lot of work. I've never written a book before. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have a lot of great experiences and stories, and thank goodness I have people like Jeffrey Gittimer and Ken Walls that are kind of helping me put this all together, and they'll be helping me with the marketing of it and different things like that as well.
So are you taking the words that your dad wrote and then using those and then writing some more stuff, or are you editing what your dad had? What is that process?
Well, there's a lot of stories that I have
Mhm.
from, obviously working with him over the years, but then I've been interviewing a lot of employees, current employees, former employees, those that are retired, and then we have their stories and their experiences, and then some of his just core values that he had, about how to treat people, and integrity and honesty, and those types of things that will be applied to the book and to the training.
Nice. We have a question from George. The world according to Doug Wing. Wait. Okay, you can only name 3 things as advice to others for business. What are they?
Well, okay, 3 things for somebody who's starting a business.
Probably just somebody in let's see, 3 things for advice to others in business or for business. So something
Okay.
for their business.
Well, I would say number 1 is treat people, the employees and your customers, vendors, etc. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And that was a big philosophy of my father. He used to say, when we were in meetings with vendors or distributors, he would always say, if it's not a good deal for everybody around the table, it's not a good deal. And so he just had this philosophy of like, hey, we're not going to take advantage of anyone. We don't want anyone to take advantage of us, but let's make sure it's a good deal for everybody around the table. And so that would be one, is to take care of people. And if you take care of people, they'll take care of you. He had this other saying where he said, don't lie, don't steal, and don't be lazy. So a lot of people hear that, oh, Hal Wing was a really nice guy, but they don't know that, he was driven. He expected a lot of his employees, and if you were good to him, he would be good to you. So again, I think that if you have those core principles of honesty, integrity, and those types of things, and then I would say, obviously hard work is My dad used to say that the harder I work, the luckier I get. And so those are really the core things. Take care of your people, do it honestly, ethically. We had competitors, quite a few competitors when I was there, and people would, the competitors that we had, a lot of times they lied about our products. And my dad always made sure, he said, you know what, we're not going to say anything about our competitors that's not true. And so I think that, if in business, we found that when people badmouthed you and said bad things about you that weren't really true, and then we didn't do that, customers would investigate us, look into us, and they would find the truth. And so we always had this philosophy. And my dad used to say this in sales meetings: you can tell customers anything you want to, as long as it's the truth. And so I think if you do that, and you focus on always telling the truth, always having integrity, and then working hard and treating your people well, good things are going to happen.
Nice. Let's see, Charles. Doug, do your siblings remain with the company, or does Little Giant now have outside ownership? Isn't that your brother have it now?
My brother has controlling interest. I have a sister that has a small percentage, and then there's actually the CEO of the company, Ryan. He owns a small percentage as well. But from what I've heard, my brother has told me that he has the company sold, and I think that's going to take place here in about 2 or 3 weeks. So
Wow.
It's kind of sad to see that happen, but honestly, my father started the company and worked his butt off to do that, and then my brother and I, and we took it to the next level with the help of very good employees. And the history, I guess, about around third generations, is that third generations don't do that well with the business. And so I think that was part of probably his decision to sell, is because there really isn't the third generation to kind of take it company and move it forward.
Do you worry that the next person won't take care of the clients, do you have that kind of fear?
Well, it's always a possibility, but hopefully they're going to keep our people, the people there. Of course, there's always going to be changes when a new company comes in and buys another company, but the brand is very strong, and the quality, it's my hope that they continue to keep the quality strong, and remember what got them there, and also to take care of the people so that they can continue to take care of our customers.
Nice. Let's see, Ron said a wing and a prayer. That's cute. Doug, thanks for your humility, compassion, and the willing to share your insight with others. Much appreciated. Kellen, as always, a great job. Now,
Thank
Doug,
you.
so the brand Wing is a huge brand, and now you're developing your own brand, right?
Yeah, that was Ken Walls' wife came up with that
Jill.
logo. Yeah,
She's
Jill.
amazing.
She's really amazing, but I think it turned out really good. So
No, she did a great job. I love it. It's clean. It's you. I mean, not that I don't know that you're clean, but
I try to be.
but no, it's the essence of Doug Wing, I think. I think she did a great job. So philanthropy, that's my last question that I had. I know the Little Giant Ladder company had, missions, right? Is that how you guys handled philanthropy, or was there any other things you guys did?
Well, my parents were amazing examples of giving back to not only their employees, but to the community. And gosh, there's so many. A big part of this book is going to be about my mom and my dad's generosity. I mean, one thing about my father, he had this philosophy that the money that he'd been blessed with, the things that he has been blessed with, or had been blessed with, really weren't his, that they were kind of on loan from God.
Mhm.
And that someday when he, left this earth and went to the next phase, that he was actually going to, give an accounting as to what he did with the things that he was blessed with. And so his philosophy was, hey, these are all things, and things don't matter. People are more important than things.
Mhm.
And his philosophy was that someday he was going to have to give an accounting as to what he did with what he had and was blessed with, and who he helped. And so my parents were amazing that way. They always looked for people to help, and they believed in doing things anonymously. They
Mhm.
didn't want to do it for praise or for show, and so they left a really great legacy that way. And I'm trying to be like them and to help as many people as I can, as because I've been super blessed in life. I mean, I've just been so blessed, and I do believe that we need to help others along the way.
I knew that about you. Okay, I have one question. This is my last question. And it's I want to know, what's a question you wish people would ask you? Because we always talk about your dad and we talk about your new things, but is there a question that you wish somebody would ask you?
I don't know, not really. I mean, I no, not really. I mean, pretty much wherever I go, I mean, I'm surprised how many people knew who my dad was. Knows about Little Giant. A lot of people don't know that Little Giant's in Utah. I mean, that's probably a question that, people say, oh, I thought it was in California or New York or, a big place like that. But that's probably the most surprising question response I get when they ask where Little Giant is. But Utah's a really great place for business right now, and our economy is always stronger than the national economy,
Mhm.
and our unemployment is always lower than the national employment rate. And Utah's got a really great workforce, and it's a great place for business. But no, I don't really I don't really have that many questions that I think about, that people want to ask me. I don't know.
What's your favorite thing about living in Utah?
Um, Really the mountains, there's so many things to do. I mean, you can ski, snow ski, you can water ski, you can go on hikes. I mean, from my house, about an hour and a half from my house, there's the little Sahara sand dunes. I can go ride motorcycles there. There's just, down south, there's all the national parks, Zion's, Bryce's. So you can jump on a Harley and cruise down there. And there's just so much beauty in Utah. Unfortunately, people during the Olympics found out about Salt Lake, and now a lot of people are moving there from California and other places. But so we're starting to get more people and more traffic. But it's for me, it was a great place to grow up, and to spend most of my life there.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Phil, he actually owns a Little Giant ladder. I do know that. Yes, see, I knew that. So when I told him you're going to be my guest, he goes, I have a Little Giant. And I go, everybody does. And now I do, which I love. Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me share, this, I guess, story with you
No,
and be on your show. It's been an honor. I appreciate it very much.
I really appreciate your time. Doug, if you're ever up here in Denver, we can cruise around our Mustangs together.
Hey, Joe, I'm actually going to be in Denver probably in a couple weeks. I just bought a 96 Ford Bronco. The last year of the Bronco, I just bought one up there, and I need to go up there and pick it up with my truck and trailer. So send me a message, Joe, and we can have lunch or something.
Cool. Look at me bringing people together, right?
That's
So
it.
thank you again. Do you have any final things you'd like people on the replay, or a message for anybody, or do you think we've covered it?
I think we've covered it.
I think so too. in a good way.
I appreciate it very much.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here today. I need to remind you, if you're on the replay, please let me know and share this out if you liked what you heard, which I'm sure you will, because Doug is never a boring interview, that's for sure. And subscribe to my YouTube. Please remember, Reflex Protect is a great safety gift. I'm giving it to some of my clients who I know that are they work in San Francisco and they're alone, and it's good to have in your purse. So you can contact Alan Barres for that, and Blue Sky Video Productions, and he is your producing guru. I could not do this without him because I can't multitask. So call him. And oh yeah, go live in 5. He's got that going on December 7th through 11th. And find him and do that course. It's going to be a blast, and you're going to learn a lot. Next week I have Joe Ingram. It's going to be a fun day. Thanks, Doug. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks.